Man, I'm glad to be here with you guys. Something weird's in my ear. I was talking to our sound guy. Well, there's probably something weird in my ear even without this. So I don't know what it is. It's all good. I'll live with it. Anyway, we're Seventh Day Slumber all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. We're excited to be here with you guys. I'm actually originally from Victoria, Texas. Anybody know that? Good stuff. Listen, I just want to thank all of you for being here, and I also want to thank everybody that was involved in putting on tonight's event. Come on, let's have a huge hand for everybody involved in putting this event on. And once again, it's an honor. I want to have a huge hand for the protest. Come on, everybody, give it up. Also, a huge hand for Spoken. Come on, let's give it up. What did you guys think about Wolves at the Gate? Come on, everybody. Who's ready for Disciple? All right. My oldest son, Blaze, he's 16. He's on the drums back here. But if you also saw, he played with Spoken tonight, and he'll be playing and filling in for As We Ascend on the second leg of the tour. And Blaze got on stage and played his first song with Seventh Day Slumber when he was 11 years old, right? 10 years old, my bad. And so we added this song to the set list on here. I thought it would be appropriate. He's kind of grown into, this awesome player, but most importantly, he uses his talents for God, and he wants to make sure God has all the glory. And so anyway, I'm going to see how we do this. But anyway, this song is called Addicted to My Pain. He would come up and he would play that one song, and people would, they'd go crazy because he was like a 10-year-old kid doing this, and it's not the easiest song in the world to play. So, if you guys don't mind, we're gonna step, Listen, I just wanted to share something real fast. Over to my left, your right, there are pictures of children, and there are kids that don't have a meal tonight. And listen, I shared this last night. Many of you have heard me share this before, if you've ever seen this live. But I used to be a drug addict. I ended up homeless on the streets of Austin, Texas, and I started using drugs and alcohol when I was about 12 years old. And anyway, I grew up in a broken home. My father wasn't in my life. He used to beat my mother. He got arrested when I was about 3.5, 4 years old. And anyway, I never saw him again after that until much later on in life. You know, I met him, again, I guess, when I was about 14 years old. And but by then I was already on drugs. Man, I tried my first line of cocaine at 14. And that was, that was finally the one that I liked the most. And so I was in and out of jails, institutions. By the age of 18, I was finally convicted of my first felony. And went to big boy jail, and you realize you're not the biggest guy in the place anymore. And so, but I got out, and I decided my mother, when I was in jail, was looking for help for me so desperately that she met this lady and took her to church, and my mother ended up giving her life to Jesus, and she would pray for me. And I remember seeing her, and I was sitting across from her and talking to her through that glass, and and here I am in this pumpkin suit, and I could see the tears, in my mom's eyes. And she was broken. And I did that, I broke my mother's heart. And the only one who ever loved me, truly. And I felt like I just either wanted to die or I wanted to get clean for her. But the problem is I didn't want to get clean for myself. And when I got out, I decided to go to rehab in Austin, and I wasn't ready. I hadn't hit my bottom. And I ended up on the streets and eating out of garbage cans. And I know you can't tell it now, but I lived under the bridge right there, not too far from 6th Street. And anyway, I remember being so hungry one time that I was panhandling, and this is how hungry I was that I didn't even want drugs at the time. I just wanted to get something to eat. I really did. I was that hungry, and I remember, someone yelling, "Get a job," and they had this "Jesus loves you" bumper sticker, on the back as they passed. And I often wondered, like I get why people may do that, but at the end of the day, why didn't you didn't have to give me money? Why didn't you stop and say, "Hey, how'd you get here, man? What happened in your life that was so bad that you would end up here?" And you'll find that there's a lot of people with a lot of rough stories, man. And but anyway, I made that decision, right? It was my decisions that led me there. And these kids over here, they didn't make a decision to not have food. They didn't make a decision to be born in a place where there's not enough. And people go, "Oh, we got kids in our own country that go to bed hungry every night." Hey, you know what? We do. But I want to tell you, did you know that kids that go to bed hungry in the United States of America don't go to bed hungry because of a lack of food? We have enough food in the United States to feed every hungry child in the world. Enough food in this country to feed every hungry child in the world. And it's crazy because if we have enough food to feed all these children, but not all these children have enough food. But anyway, kids that go to bed hungry in the United States, and you may not like, that I'm saying this, but it's the truth. Kids that go to bed hungry in the United States don't go to bed hungry because of a lack of food. They go to bed hungry because of a lack of parenting. And that's real talk, man. And so there's some of you, you know, look pretty rough in here, and I guarantee you, some of you have been through some things in your life, and maybe you don't even smile that much because you're too tough to do it. But I promise you, no matter what race or religion this kid is, if they knocked on your door, there was a little kid and said, me and my little sister are hungry, it would touch your heart, and you would make sure they had something to eat. Am I right? I know you would. But we have kids over here, and they have nothing. And so I want to challenge you tonight. Because some of you, you know it was God talking to you and you didn't do it, man. And that commercial came on and you're like, they know exactly when I'm home and when I'm about to. Because that commercial comes on and it's like, for just under $1 a day, you know. But I don't have a spiel for you right now. I'm winging it, I guess. But I'm saying that tonight there are children over here. It's $33 a month to keep a kid alive, right? $33 a month. And God has spoke to you many times, some of you, and you just didn't do it. And I'm not just asking you tonight, I'm begging you tonight to answer that call. Don't let tonight pass you by. It's not just an opportunity for these kids, it's an opportunity for you as well. It'll change your life as well. My wife and I, all of us, have been sponsoring children for a long time, and you think that you're only changing their life, but in actuality, they're changing your life. And so you have an opportunity to do something that's life-saving, not just life-changing. And I'm not going to ramble on, but this is something all the bands on this tour, something we all believe in, and we gathered something for you guys. So if you sponsor a child tonight and you say, man, money's kind of tight, but I'm going to do this, then we just want to hook you up with some stuff. So tonight at that table, there's a City Rockfest t-shirt, and it's got all the band's names on it. You can't buy that one. You can buy a Rockfest t-shirt, but that one has all the band's names on it. It's not for sale. It's just to say thank you on behalf of these kids. But anyway, so we have a Rockfest t-shirt with all the band's names. We've got a tour poster with all the bands on that poster, and all the bands will sign this stuff for you. So we've got that tour poster with all the bands' names. We also have this really cool, like, little backpack thing, and it's got all the bands' names on it, and they'll sign it for you as well. And then you can have a Seventh-day Slumber CD, whichever one you pick. It'll sound better than I sounded tonight, I guarantee you that. And I appreciate you guys being so cool. You know, it's yeah. Anyway, I appreciate it. And by the way, it has nothing to do with our sound, man. We have in-ear monitors, and there's some static going on in my ears, and I'm trying to stay, you know, in the moment. But I want to have a huge hand for Ryan back there. Ryan, for doing sound. He's done an amazing job. But anyway, so if you sponsor a child tonight, you get those things: the t-shirt, the poster, the bag, and a Seventh-day Slumber CD. But once again, man, I don't want to just touch your heart and you go, oh man, you know, I'm really touched by it. I want you to be touched and moved to action, because you can be moved. I mean, nobody likes to hear about a kid hungry, and so I can get up here and you can be moved. But being moved to action is a whole other thing. You know what I'm saying? And so anyway, please, I'm begging you tonight. Don't let tonight pass you by without giving one of these kids a chance, you know, at life. Anyway, this song is off our worship album, and this song is called From the Inside Out. If you guys know it, I'd love for you to sing along. That's cool. All right. I ended up making the decision to commit suicide. I was homeless. I ended up going back to Victoria, made the decision to commit suicide. I was done living, and I was living at my mom's house. I lost everything, my apartment, my car, everything. And my mother walked in unexpectedly, just as I overdosed purposely. And she called the paramedics. There in the back of the ambulance, I felt the hand of God, and I know He's real. And I gave my life to Jesus in the back of that ambulance, and He changed my heart. He's changed my life. He's given me hope and a future, a beautiful, amazing life of 18 and a half years, 3 awesome sons that travel with me everywhere I go. And listen, I say that because I want you to know, no matter what you're going through, some of you are going through a messed up time in your life, and you smile real good on the outside, but inside you're broken, you're hurting, and it feels like everything's falling apart. But I want you to know that even in your darkest times and your alone times, that there's a God who's there with you, and not one. The Bible says that not one of your tears ever hit the ground. That He's collected them in a vial spiritually. He's collected them in a vial, and what that means is to be able to collect something, you have to be there, and He's God with you, and He's with you through those times. If you feel all alone, just know He's there. But anyway, we love you. We got one more song for you, and then we'll be ready for some Disciple. And we're going to be hanging out too. All the bands will be hanging out tonight over there. Once again, don't forget to sponsor a child tonight, man. If you hear God speaking to you, or feel God speaking to you, man, I'm telling you, you can trust Him. He's an awesome God. Thanks again. This song is called Burning Bridges.